I want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And puts player back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square, Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the centre.
Hey Pack, welcome to Danny Boyd, a podcast about the most wonderful, exciting, brilliant football club in the known universe and all multiverses. That is the Footscray Football Club, Proprietary Limited. They trade as Western Bulldogs. I'm Danny McGinley. Tom Boyd is with me.
This is the most important time of year. The players have been back since Monday. Time trials will dictate exactly how everyone plays for the whole season. So just look at that, and if they won or they were good, like Crofty, I think, came second or something, well, he's going to kick 60 goals this year. That's exactly how it works.
Is it too early to say that Jordan Croft is having the greatest preseason of any player ever and is indeed training the house down?
Oh, for sure.
Did you ever train the house down?
My best preseason was 2016. Would you believe?
There we go.
Yeah, because then I went into 2017 with two basically busted shoulders, and anyway,
From carrying that cup around.
Yeah. From carrying Toby actually was the major issue. Even though he probably weighed 61.5 kilos. I hope Toby's listening to this as our esteemed AFLW coach,
Assistant coach. Yep. He doesn't want. I asked him to come on and talk about it, and so a few listeners have asked, "Can you get Toby back to talk about the AFLW?" And Toby did not believe me. I did send him screenshots of people asking.
And where is he?
He said, "I'm actually too busy."
Too busy doing what? Playing football at Spotswood or wherever he's playing,
and coaching the AFLW. And
well,
I assume giving people haircuts.
Oh yeah,
I met his mum actually at an art gallery thing.
Lovely person,
yeah.
I imagine
she was delightful.
It's which is strange. The apple falls far from the tree sometimes.
Oh,
with
he's
Toby.
such an arsehole.
Oh, I can't stand that kid.
Who was your least favourite teammate at the Bulldogs?
Toby. He never lived down, and he will hate this. This story will never get lived down. His first ever preseason.
Oh yeah, no, we've talked about this, but it's a fun story.
When he so we were doing a handball game, a walking handball game.
So that's where you play a match, but you're not allowed to run, and you're not allowed to kick. So
which is sort of like, this is like a skills session, essentially.
Is this full ground?
No, we do handball games where you can run and tackle and everything, but you can't kick, which is like 3/4 of the ground. I hated them. Liam Picken, very good at them, would you believe?
Yep.
Libba, Mitch Wallace, those kind of types, really fit guys. Very happy with it. Hunter as well. But this one was just a walking one. It was a touch session, we call them. Okay. So basically just working on your skills. And there's essentially a target at each end that you try and walk it up and handball, and it's basically touch, and then it's a turnover.
Okay.
And Toby got out the back and he strutted for 15 to 20 metres.
So is that more than a walk or less than a walk?
It was like, if there's a catwalk, and then whatever's after that in terms of just drama, that's how he did it. And in this group was myself and two of the worst people to do that in front of at the time, which is Bob Murphy and Matty Boyd.
Now, Matty Boyd, I believe, Bob Murphy, hey, we're talking the ABC breakfast host.
Very early on in the time at the club, because me and Toby got drafted together, or trade/drafted. This was before Christmas that year, so we'd probably been there for a week, and Bob is very much a footballer's footballer, where he's like, there is a code here of how you're supposed to act, and the first month before Christmas, you shouldn't really talk to anyone, you should just train and do the right thing.
Okay.
Oh, man, that was funny.
So, and by the way, we're going to talk about the footy media landscape later on, but I'll give you... So, Bob Murphy and Charnel Vella are taking over from my friend Sammy J on ABC Breakfast, 774.
Jesus.
I'll tell you this, though. The head of 774, ABC Melbourne, is the former head of Triple M.
Really?
So radio experience.
Not exactly a lateral move, I wouldn't say.
No, and he was... but I do laugh that the new ABC breakfast show is an ex-footballer and an attractive woman. Very Triple M.
Wow.
Charnel Vella's a brilliant journalist, by the way. It's not just because she's attractive. She's actually great, and it will be a brilliant show.
Let me say... if we put Bob in as an attractive man, he won't be after 12 months of doing breakfast radio, because that is the surefire way to destroy all of the positivity in the world in my experience.
Yeah, your body, you're constantly thinking about sleep, and your body creates more cortisol, which means you gain weight. Which
and cortisol is also the reason you feel incredibly anxious a lot of the time.
And ABC breakfast starts even earlier than most, but they're done before 8 o'clock.
That doesn't make it better.
No.
I'd probably rather work till 10.
But look at Sammy J. I mean, he's got no muscle or fat on him at all, and breakfast radio still couldn't create it, so he's doomed.
Yeah.
No preseason for Sammy J.
I remember talking to Luke Darcy about it, actually, because he was doing, after I retired, he was doing it, and he goes, like, one of the things that he noticed after he left and left football and, like, for after 15 years or whatever, changed his whole life and then did breakfast radio, is he was just, like, not feeling 100%. I'm not sharing anything I don't think he's spoken about publicly before. And at the time, he was like, there was a few things that he did that really helped him. And now that I look back at that conversation, I'm like, it was just breakfast radio, mate. That's the change. It wasn't leaving footy; it was joining that.
Actually, you just reminded me when I did breakfast radio. I remember one of the music director at Fox FM said, "Do you know, breakfast radio is a lot like bashing your head against a brick wall.
Yeah,
it feels really good when you stop." But I'm sure Luke will do well now. Well, according to rumor, he's going into politics.
Well, I've got no idea. I mean,
neither do I. But
it does.
That's worse than breakfast radio.
Well, at least it's not early, I suppose.
I reckon they. Yeah, but you're working late into the night, and I wouldn't want to be a politician.
What are they doing? Working.
You're avoiding Barnaby.
Pretty much, I imagine all that they're doing is talking to each other about things that they're probably not going to do.
I will have you know that a federal MP
I say
listens
this
to this pod.
just before I go and speak at Parliament today.
Oh, that's right. Because we recorded a Patreon episode for but Boydy's about to go speak at Victorian State Parliament for Movember and mental health stuff, and I keep begging him to mention the pod just so it's in Hansard. Forever.
Imagine if I do that near like quite a big splash of something else I say that causes attention.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And also brought to you by Danny Boyd Bulldogs.
That's a great idea. Hey, why don't you say something controversial?
Yeah. Or not. Or not. Or maybe
I'm trying to get us publicity, mate.
I don't need publicity. I'm good.
Yeah, but the pod does.
Yeah, well.
Do you know how many people are actually listening? 4. And one's a federal member of parliament.
I hope so. What? Not Timmy Boy?
Yeah, Tim Watts.
I'm only guessing just because Tim barracks for the Bulldogs and he's in Footscray, and it would make sense. Tim, I'm sure you've done a lot of great work, and we have met before, so I'm not potting you particularly, but
everyone else. I
feel like the working late comment from Danny is lots of consulting going on. If you know what I mean. Do you reckon
Gillard's listening to our pod ever?
No.
I'm trying to think of other politicians who went for the Dogs.
Can I say though, I did meet Simon Madden back in 2011, I suppose.
Do you mean the politician? That was Justin Madden.
Okay, Justin Madden. I met Simon too. Both footballers, correct?
Yes,
both played AFL.
Yep.
I'm like, if you really think about it, Luke Darcy's kind of like the upgrade to those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, probably, I'd imagine a better career. Darcy's one of the
great. Well, both Simon and Justin Madden won premierships.
Okay. Darcy played 400 games.
Yeah,
400,000 games. Anyway, whatever. And, presence about him. I feel like, anyway, okay, let's not make it a hierarchy. That's just the same vein. He's the next iteration.
Luke Darcy was better because he played for the Dogs.
That's right. And, it'll be interesting. I don't know that. I know that he's obviously gone back to do his leadership, a leader, it's called. I only just realised that it sounded like leader because I've never actually said the word. I see it on LinkedIn all the time. Speaking of which, Jesus, the AFL leaders, ex-AFL players leaders programs are popping up out of the woodwork at the moment. Jack Rewald started one.
Oh, has he? So this is, I'm not on LinkedIn as much as you.
LinkedIn is being filled with people that I used to play against or know of from the AFL world doing leadership programs. Good on them.
Well, back in the day, all footballers had a T-shirt business, so this is an upgrade.
I think this is okay because I think Jack Rewald's going on the couch or something.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I think I like Jack Rewald.
Yeah, I think Jack would be good. And look, I think Nick Rewald's also quite good on television.
He's doing Channel 7.
He is.
Yeah.
And
Triple M Breakfast.
But I also don't think just doing that is enough because I feel like some of the guys who do media just do media and they just do television stuff, but I think doing like something like the leadership program stuff would probably be a good mix for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, but what is a leadership program? I mean, there must be a lot of snake oil salesmen in that field.
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's snake oil salesman. I'd say it's a lot easier to talk about what you should do than it is to actually do it.
It's like those who can't teach
Yes, but those who did teach
as well.
Guys who can't. You know what I mean? That's not quite the dodgeball analogy that you were going for, but it's sort of like, you know, I see it all the time in a lot of the work that I do is sort of, you know, you have to meet people where they're at. And yeah, incremental change is hard unless there's, well, sweeping change is really hard. And particularly if there's not enough pain to make you, you know, force you to do it essentially. So
yeah.
I think it's all valuable. I think there's, you know, there are certain things that you can learn from, you know, good leaders in sport, no doubt. And I think other people's experiences can really help with mindset. Obviously, I do a lot of speaking stuff, which if I said was completely useless, it would make no sense. And I still believe it's important, but at the same time, it can't be the last thing that you do if you're trying to change or solve a problem. You can't just get someone in and talk about leadership. You then have to go and do something about it.
Yeah. Who was the best captain in your time, speaking of leadership, that you witnessed in any of your careers? I mean, how many captains did you had? Did you ever have Matty Boyd? No, you just had Bob.
I had Bob and Easton.
Yeah.
And
who
then
was
I
at
had
the Giants?
I had Cal Ward.
Oh, sweet. 3 dogs. This is good.
And Phil Davis. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I see Bont now as obviously an unbelievable captain. Bob and Easton. So Bob obviously missed 12 months of probably the 2 years that we played together.
Yeah.
I think it only was 2 years because he only played one more year after 2016.
17, yeah.
He played 17.
Played 17. And then him and Boydy played their last game together.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I didn't play. I probably only played, I don't know, 20 games with Bob as captain. The thing I liked about Bob is that he liked to sort of keep it relatively simple. And look, here's the other thing. It's really hard to answer that question from a captain's point of view. Like, who's a great leader is a very different question because who's a great captain, there's so many things that you have to do. You have to present well in front of the media. You have to play well. You have to be professional around the club. You have to connect with all the players. You need to deal with all of the shit with the coaches and yada, yada, yada. Right. And it's hard to just judge someone on like who was the best at doing everything because typically there's guys who are better at some things and better at other. Like Bont is the best captain in recent times the Bulldogs have had from a playing point of view, professionalism.
Yep.
But
he doesn't do enough media because he hasn't come on our pod.
Yeah, well, that too. And also they kind of wheel him out there. He probably has a bit of I imagine he has to have a bit of an attachment with media being bad because they roll him out when stuff happens. That's like, all right, Bont. So this happened during the week. You got 35 and kicked 2. Can you go talk to them about the bad thing? Again. So, and they've sort of, I feel like they've used him as a bit of a shield over the years, which is in a way the role of a captain, no doubt, but ideally not all the time.
All right. Well, I don't know. How do we get on here? We were just talking about leadership groups and whatnot.
Well, we were talking about successful people because obviously the AFLW wrapped up.
Oh, yes. And hey, who started Isabel Pritchett's career?
Us.
Correct. Definitely. She was
19.
One of our first AFLW guests.
Was at
after
the old
Ellie Blackburn.
offices in Richmond.
Yes.
And
man, she was great. I remember this is
so much. I remember. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. So at the time, your wife was pregnant with your first child,
correct,
and you were filled with fatherly hormones. And I've never seen, like, as soon as we wrapped up, you were just so like, if you ever need anything, you call me.
I say that to everyone, just to be fair.
I know, but you no, I haven't heard you say it to.
I've said it to you 1,000 times.
Really?
Yes.
Can I borrow money?
Yeah,
I got to prove
25% interest rate.
But Izzy Pritchett, what a season! The AFLW season started very badly,
which I was saying before is really tough. If nothing else, you want them to start well, not just for the success of the season, but because of when it happens.
Yes.
You kind of want to ride the wave of the men's finishing, and if that's a little disappointing, which it was,
yes,
then you ride straight into that's all right. We've got something positive to focus on.
Absolutely.
But they had such a slow start.
We got thumped by the Giants in that first round.
Yeah, and I feel like the first 3 games were really bad.
Losing to West Coast where we lost Ellie Blackburn as well,
and then I think we beat Carlton.
We beat Collingwood in the first game. I rewatched that game yesterday, and man, that third quarter was just so good. And then we beat the Swans on men's grand final eve. I was there for that. Then the Kangaroos thumped us.
I was in Europe for those 2 games.
Then worse, what the media called the worst game of AFLW ever, where we lost to the Bombers by 23 points. But then we beat Carlton, beat the Saints by a point, and then finished up in Freo. But there's green shoots. But Izzy Pritchard, Hartwig, amazing. Jess Fitzgerald. We got some of the new girls were amazing.
It is really a tough. It's still a tough time in AFLW land with just the best players moving every year, and I haven't seen a lot of mail around players moving just yet. When's that trade period, or is that already happened?
No, it'll happen in a few months. I'd say probably usually around June, July.
Yeah. And they've all essentially, so they go back and, do any of them go back and play anymore at VFL now? Yeah, they all go back and play there.
Well, next year, but yes.
But they play the first 10 weeks or something there, and then they go across.
I think they do the full season.
Yeah, but some of them aren't allowed to. I know that's been an issue because my sister plays VFLW, and she's sort of, I think at the front half of the season she comes up against a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
But then as you get closer, they're like, we don't want you to do your knee or ankle or whatever before the season starts. It'd be so difficult to manage. Like mentally, you'd be like, it sort of feels like basketball used to be for me, which was you play your domestic, which is like just your club level, and then the night before you've been in Maffra or Geelong or at Melbourne at MSAC playing representative, which is much, much higher standard. And then you might have to go and play like state something tournament over here. And then you've got sort of early morning training with a different program. You sort of just here, there and everywhere. It gets really exhausting because you never feel like you're always like the new person coming back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay. It's hard to gel with your teammates.
Yeah, and also it's weird from a timing point of view because they'll have basically 4 months off now, 5 months off.
Yeah.
And then they'll start bit after the men's next year.
I assume,
around the same time.
No, well,
after
the
Easter
VFL
probably.
W season starts, roughly around the same time as VFL men's.
Yeah.
And if you were at Footscray,
it's a lot of games you could play in a year too. If you did both seasons, you'd be playing high 20s.
Yeah,
more than
all for bugger all money.
Wow, and not to mention, like I think, my sister was again saying I don't know if I can. Anyway, she may or may not be moving clubs.
There we go. So you say that, and that'll get some coverage.
She got 2 of the right colours, but she's missing one. You should be able to figure this out.
So Sydney?
Ah, yes. No, not them. Other way.
Other way. Collingwood.
We don't have black in our colours, Danny.
Hang on, what? So she was playing for St Kilda.
Sydney is a good guess.
Right.
Because you've got that right. You've had 2 of the right colours.
North.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that yet.
Well,
anyway, she's been there.
She's been there.
Someone knows.
Caleb's bringing her over.
Tess, you're famous. Well done.
Well, actually, they're about to win the flag, so of course you bring in a Boyd.
Yeah, of course.
That's what happens.
The sugar on top of the, I don't know what you don't put sugar on. It's the cream on the cake, isn't it? Yeah.
Cherry on top.
Cherry on top. Whatever.
Mixing your metaphors. All right, what else has gone on?
It's been a long muff.
In what do you want to talk about? The draft? Do you want to talk about? Do you want me to gripe about Channel 7, or what do you want? What are you feeling up for next?
Let me just say this. I received some text messages last night about an impending change to the media landscape. Not a lot of thrilled people, I'd say.
Yep. Is this about this is about Agenda Setters? That new show on 7?
No.
No?
Oh, maybe.
Hosted by Hutchie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that Hutchie went back to 7. Just as a purely, I figured that was not really an option.
Well, okay, I'm going to do my gripe now. As a former 7 employee, and I do still sort of work there when I work for Front Bar, why are we picking all these negative people?
Yeah.
Like, Channel 9 was just a tabloid fest where they would gripe about the game. I couldn't watch Footy Classified because it was just, I'm like, why are you watching if you hate the game so much?
Can I say, above and beyond the negative stories they focused on, they were negative with each other.
Yes.
None of them seem to, like, Caro and I never watch Footy Classified except for clips that pop up on my Twitter every now and again. But Caro, Cornsey and Hutchie, well, less so Hutchie, I would say, and Lloydie, they all just argued with each other.
Yes.
It's like they were like trying to catch each other out as well as
being at an awkward family Christmas where I
feel like Thanksgiving's probably a better example.
Probably.
We just had a federal election in America and everyone's together for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's basically what it felt like.
And Yeah, now Seven, and I liked what Seven were doing. Well, I mean, the show that I worked on, Game Day, there was a bit of analysis. There was also some lightheartedness, you know.
Game Day was great. I did it a couple of times. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I remember having you on, but it was also like, it was Sunday morning. Everyone's hungover.
But also, can I say this? What I don't understand is Channel 7 haven't taken that tone for the last few years. Like, if you think about their match day commentators, for starters, you really look, they've always had guys like Hamish,
who's fantastic,
and Bruce,
yes,
and
who loves
JB,
the game.
and I don't, whether you like them all or not, it doesn't really matter. They're all pretty positive people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the mood of the room is like, oh, you know, this is a serious sport and we're going to respect it, but also, you know, this is something you should enjoy watching. And I've always got.
I agree with you mostly on
a peaceful experience watching their commentary.
JB though, do you remember the final siren of the men's grand final? He was awful.
I can't remember now.
I'll play it for you later, but he's just like, it's almost like he had all his money on the Swans. He's like, Brisbane have won.
Right.
They are premiers. So it's like, come on, man. You've had hours knowing that Brisbane are going to win this.
I think I remember now. Can I give one? I was feeling the exact same way he was feeling at that stage after what was quite a disappointing.
What, just bored? Yeah, but still, they're going to replay it. You got to bring it. Jared Waitley would not do that.
No,
he would have.
So let me say, on the professional commentator side of things, I agree. But as a fan, I was sitting there going, "Oh, that was a big day." Well, what happened? Like, you know, basically I stopped, the TV was on and I was sitting in front of it, but I stopped watching halfway through the second quarter. It was just a dead rubber.
Yeah, but who's going to rewatch it? Brisbane Lions fans when they're watching the DVD. So give them
let me say, as someone who was lucky enough to have two great pieces of commentary towards the end of my grand final, the grand final I was
okay, so you're Brian Taylor. What's the other one?
Committees was good too.
What did he say? The western suburbs erupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That was
That was good. Better than his final siren. I mean, Toby kicks the point. He goes, he misses, but they don't miss. It's like, come on, Committee, you can do better than that.
I probably wasn't his favourite.
And it was his last one.
That to your point is a really fun part of towards the end of the game. But that's obviously a function of something big happening when the game was close. But even with that, it's sort of like it would be average, I suppose, watching it back. I wonder if the other commentary tracks were better.
Yeah.
Couple.
I was about to say, let us know, but no Dogs fan listening to this is watching the Brisbane
What about,
Lions.
Speaking of people who are one step removed of the Dogs, what about our old mate Horse?
Oh, yeah, John Longmire.
Jesus, what did he come out and say? Yeah, I just didn't have it in me. Didn't seem like that. Didn't seem like it was your call, mate.
I got to say, this is very childish, but I'm very disappointed at the lack of jokes of Horse making way for big cocks.
Yeah, well, you know, it's pretty good.
I know. It's so immature. It's like, come on, it's right there, people.
I do remember as a great pastime of mine, because obviously Coxie was big sort of 2005-06 around that period of time. And, geez, there were some good jokes. That was still, Triple M was still running around with it. Like, you could
Cox standing tall.
Yeah. That was great. They were just so childish, but a very fun period of time.
Yeah, Graham Johncock for Adelaide Crows was another one.
What a player. Like, he was
a good player. We're so immature.
So I can't remember what the other one, there was one that I had the other day, which I can't remember what it was. It was just one of those incredibly unlucky names.
Do you ever we've not really talked about the men's grand final for good reason, but do you feel like, so the Lions thumped them by 10 goals?
Yeah.
Cats thumped them by 10 goals. Hawks in 2014 thumped them by 10 goals. We could only beat them by 4. Is that an indictment on our club?
In
14, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
they did. Buddy kicked 5. And,
yeah.
Well, they also beat the Hawks 2 years before.
Yeah. No, but when we won our grand final, we only won by 4 goals. Is that a blight on our club?
No, I think it's we broke them.
Yeah, that's good.
But also, I suppose that doesn't really make sense given that they lost by 10 goals before. I don't know. Like I'm by far an expert. I'm more of an expert than Danny, but that's not saying a lot.
Well,
I think like it appears to me that the Bloods make everything really fucking hard culture.
Yeah.
Runs out of steam towards the end of the year. That's what it looks like to me. Because they make it hard. And that's why they're so consistent, and it's what gets them there. But potentially maybe the reason why that they, and again, like who knows, this is over 6 or 7 years. I'm sure that it's not all the same reasons, but the teams that play them at the end of the seem a lot lighter, like mentally and physically. They seem like they're running on top of the ground more. They seem like they've got more energy. They seem like they've got less stress and pressure. And they seem like they can just, whereas it feels like there's too much consistency with, I would say, the overall emotion that you see from the players, from the Sydney fans for their last 4 grand finals, that it doesn't make sense. It's purely coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, also, who cares? This is a dogs podcast.
That's right.
So,
yeah. Anyway,
I don't mind.
Speaking of dogs, we drafted a few.
We did.
A few pups.
Who we got? All right, let's go through them. Pick 20, Cooper Hines. According to the website, strong-bodied forward midfielder from the Stingrays in Dandenong. Co-captain of the Stingrays, got 23 goals in 15 games. What do you know about him?
Nothing.
Cool.
Having said that, though, let me say this. I saw Chris Grant recently. I spoke to Sam Power when we were at the club briefly.
Yep.
And, like, openly on this podcast, I've basically said, like, the thing that I'm concerned about is not so much next year, but we have a midfield that's average age is going to be 32 in very short order. And I don't like that at all. Because, again, if you hark back to my days, which is some time ago now, we had 12 players running through the middle of the ground at all times. Kobe Stevens was like one of the guys. Liam Picken, Matty Boyd would go in. Mitch Wallace would go in. Bont, like Jacko. There was dozens, and we just overwhelmed. Just put bodies and bodies and bodies. Mm-hmm. Keep everyone fresh and invigorated and attacking, because we didn't need to go in there and just play 3-on-3 for the whole game and hope to win. And that also meant that a lot of those players could obviously go and develop their games elsewhere. So if they played as a half-forward flanker, they got good at being a half-forward flanker and a midfielder. One of the issues we've had in the last 5 or 6 years, I would say, is that we stopped doing the rotation through the middle of the ground, which meant that all of those midfielders who are trying to get in there, 1, can't, 2, get spat at and say, you're exclusively playing half-forward flank, you're not going to rotate through the middle of the ground.
And they're not happy about that, and
they're not happy. And they also don't know how to do it, because it's a really tough position to play. Half-forward flank is the least relevant in any ball movement, essentially, because you either get skipped over because they go through the middle of the ground, or they kick it over your head, or they'll give it to you on the wing, which means that you don't really have an impact on the game. And it looks to me that they are at the very least aware of that based on who we drafted. And I would say also with Matt Kennedy coming into the club, that they're trying to give Bevo options to make sure that, and the inevitable moment when, in particular, Libba and Ads drop off, which again, I think Adam will be 33 or something this year, 34,
Yep.
and maybe Libba's a year below him. It's going to happen. The next big injury for both those guys could very well be, and we obviously don't wish them, we want them to play forever, but it's not.
But it could be a career ender.
Could be a career ender.
Yeah.
So who are we going to replace them with? Based on last year's form, there is not a single option, in my opinion.
Ed.
Yeah, but Ed's in the rotation already.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
They're not playing 100% game time in the middle of the ground, but between those 4, they're probably spending at least 80% of the time in that midfield rotation. So you might have a couple of people pop in and out here and there, and McRae came in for a few games and so on and so forth. But it's not like the next one in line is really obvious to me.
Well, we're hoping Riley Sanders.
Riley West.
Riley West is another one, yeah.
But again, both of those guys are not the biggest players.
Well, I don't think Cooper Hines will be that, because from what I'm told, he's the new stringer. We're expecting a full belly lion tattoo by 2030. But he's aggressive mid-size forward.
I've got look. Put it this way: the reason why that Don Malacy, who's the national recruiting manager, has said Cooper is 190 centimetre midfield forward, is because they want him to play in the middle of the ground. It would be my guess.
Okay.
There's a lot of hey, he's a midfielder as well as a forward. How many goals did he kick last year?
23.
Okay. Well, he'd want to be a midfielder, because 23 goals in 15 games at the under-18 levels doesn't strike you as someone who's playing forward the whole time.
Okay, yeah. All right.
As someone who won a league goal kicking, as the team that won 3 games for the year and finished on the bottom of the ladder.
Yes. And didn't you play not many games because of injury?
Yeah, I probably played the same as him.
And you still got the leading goal kicker?
Yeah, I think I kicked 47 or something.
Oh, man. Lockie, is it Jacques? I mean, it's Jacques, but there's no C there, so it could be Jakes or Jacques.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll say Lockie Jacques, since we like to be European.
Small defender. Can play on small and medium types, super competitive, brave in the air, captain of the Falcons, fantastic leader, All-Australian for Vic Country. Don't know. Haven't drafted a lot of... Who would he be... Is that a... Well, JJ's getting older.
Yeah.
But he doesn't strike... It's not like they've said that he's a... We miss a type like Hayden Crozier.
Yeah.
And they've mentioned both or twice in his description really around being strong in the air, which I think we need back there.
Yep. He won best and fairest at the Falcons, by the way. He finished top of the ladder in the under-18s.
It's good.
Yeah.
Which he's at the wrong end of the ground too, which says something.
Yeah.
If they're any good.
That's pretty good. So, I don't mind that.
Josh Dolan.
Josh Dolan.
Athletically, very high-end endurance and high speed. Plays high forward role so well.
But he also was injured in his final year.
Hurt his knee and missed only 4 to 6 weeks.
Meniscus. What's that?
Meniscus is the cartilage in your knee.
Oh, okay.
And the really weird thing about it is you can tear it, right?
Yep.
And then it'll either heal itself, but there's not great blood flow in there. Or they can go in and they can trim. Trim it off, because essentially all that happens is when it's like flapping around, essentially, it like causes a lot of bleeding and swelling.
Yeah. Okay. He's creative and hardworking. I like that.
Interesting that they've actually picked a half forward who's actually a half forward instead of playing a midfielder as a half forward.
He can also go through the midfield. They should put in brackets. He won't, but he could.
Then the other funny thing is, and Josh, if you ever hear this, please, I want you to go really well. But also, he looks very light.
Oh, yeah.
Like very light.
They all look like children.
But
now. Yes, yeah.
Very
wow.
light.
Yeah.
So, and I want you to dominate, mate, from day one. What's going to happen is he's going to probably be a bit light for AFL, so he's going to go play in the twos where half forwards is the hardest place in the world to play, and he's going to learn how to play it in a completely different format than what he's going to need to at AFL level.
Well, you think he's slight? Check out pick 51, Sam Davidson. He looks very like
he's lean.
He looks like the little brother from Round the Twist.
He looks like he grew up on the Gold Coast to me. Sam is a bit older. He's 22, studying a medical degree and playing a lot of country footy.
Doc.
Came in with so much good footy in the VFL. His speed and endurance combination is exceptional. Doesn't say where he played.
Forward. Tall forward. Got 26 goals in 17 games.
No, as in it doesn't show which team.
Oh, right. Local footy in Gippsland, it all says.
Yeah, right. I like players who played senior footy because I think it would have really helped me, and I've got a bias against my experience, obviously. Mafra. Already mentioned Mafra once on this podcast just by pure coincidence.
Right.
Saying that I would be going to play basketball down there. They bred him tough down there, I will say.
What is Mafra? Is that a town?
Mafra is a town in Gippsland, yes.
Okay.
It's a long way away. And then the last one we've got is Luke Kennedy.
Luke Kennedy. Speedy defensive midfielder.
This is not the way you want your draft description to go. At this stage, we weren't sure how many players would be left.
Oh, that's so harsh.
That's on the website.
Oh, Luke, come on.
So we traded a future fourth to bring in Luke. Sandy Dragons boy, played a whole year with him because he didn't have private school football. Elite endurance and elite kick on either side of the body.
Oh, so he's a state school boy. I like him.
State school? Yeah, I suppose. But he's from Sandy Dragons. So what school did he go to?
Bo Morris Tech.
They're all private down there. Yeah, who knows? Taken right at the end of the draft.
Mate,
they're all bonuses from there.
Matty Boyd was one of the best steals of all time. And
it's like the best and worst thing about the Bulldogs is we've got some like great like late draft stories.
Yeah.
Because then people will be like, oh, he's late in the draft. It should be good.
Chris Grant, Matty Boyd. Yeah.
But no, that's not usually how it works. Usually,
one time we had a number one draft pick and he kicked the winning goal in the grand final.
You didn't draft me at number one though.
Well, yeah, but you will always be a number one draft pick.
So it's me and Coons are the only number one picks ever, right?
Didn't we get Jamara? Oh no, he was like number 2. And it was like
we bidded on him.
Yeah,
he would have gone
allocated.
1, but we bidded on him.
Yeah, okay. So confusing, all that.
Well, he's like how did we end up with him? Like,
I don't know.
We got like a Warrnambool like zoning clause where if you live between this house and that house and you're really good at football, you come to us.
Yeah, sounds good.
Which you're like, yeah, this is great. How many of these are not going our way?
Literally all of the others apart from Jamara.
All of them.
Yeah.
So
And yet we were in the firing line.
Father-son, though.
Oh, yeah, we're good with that.
We're very good. Yep. Anyway, so I think, look, we've got a midfield issue from an age point of view. It looks like they're trying to deal with it.
Yep.
I got no idea about any of these young players. I'm still finding players on our list. I'm surprised that are there, to be honest with you.
Yep.
We just got to wait and see. Terrible podcasting, but...
Well, no. We're never going to lie to you, audience, that we are got a crystal ball and we know what's going on. We're not in the room where it happens.
Obviously, Crofty's going to win the Brownlow this year because he came second in the time trial. That's how it works.
Who won the time trial?
I don't know, some other small person. He's big, which is why it was impressive. And all the comments were like, impressive that he came second. 2K are 2. Which, I'm glad that legacy has lived on because 3K is so much harder.
Yeah, it's so I'm just checking my text from Chaz Licciardello. He reckons Jacques is the Daniel/Dale replacement.
Okay, why would we need a Dale replacement?
Well,
Dale isn't Dale.
What's a Daniel replacement?
Best and fairest last year or something.
Yeah, but we picked a
Chaz. We love Chaz. Chaz is probably my favourite. He's the third member of the Danny Boy.
Absolutely, he is. Yeah.
Fuck, he's got no idea sometimes. I hope you hear that, Chaz.
You might have to co-host with him. I'm going to Japan next year in the middle of the season.
Wow. So. Yeah. I'm good at organising stuff.
Yeah, so. I know. I'm going to be editing in Yokohama.
Looking at Mount Fuji, going, Jesus, why am I staring at Dom's face?
We're also going to be doing a live show early next year. We'll let you know the details from that. And also, if you want a Christmas present for the Bulldogs supporting friend or relative, you can buy, I've got stubby holders merch of all 4 2016 finals, and you can buy them through my YouTube channel, or I'll post the link somewhere in the description. And they're going like hotcakes, so please get involved. Can you got anything to plug, Boydy? You got a... how's your book going? Can people still buy your book?
I think if you go to most op shops, they're in there. No, I mean, if you want to book me for the end of the year, you're very welcome to. It's not necessary. I know it's Christmas time. Everyone's busy. Everyone's trying to wrap up the year. Christmas time is also one of the most difficult for many, many people who feel like that their relationship with their family is not what they want it to be, or perhaps they're lonely and they feel like they're missing out. So make sure you look out for all of your friends who are maybe not going to have the best Christmas period, even though you might be.
Yeah. Look out for each other. Stay off the roads.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep the road toll down this year. That'd be good.
Come on. What are you doing?
Yeah. No driving when you've had too many, trifles. You got to eat a lot of
chocolates.
You got a lot, those rumbles. Don't eat too many of them. But no, yes, we look. It's been a massive year for everyone.
What's your top moment, bottom moment, 2025, or top 3? I was thinking about this driving over.
I honestly can't remember half of what's happened this year.
I knew you would. That's why I've got you. All right.
The bottom moment was obviously losing the losing the final,
the elimination final, and also losing to Hawthorn earlier in the year. They were the most horrible moments of the world. But best moments of 2024, I'm going to give. All right. Okay, we had a few very good wins.
Are you okay?
Do you know what it was? When we beat the D's Friday night under the name Footscray. Because that was right when we were turning it around, and we'd beaten Sydney, we'd beaten the Cats, we'd beaten Carlton, and then we knocked off the D's by 50 points, and suddenly we were looking awesome.
Just gets me amped up for 2025.
The week later, we
Who do we play opening round next year?
Kangas.
Oh, well, don't jinx it. Should be off to a good start.
Caleb Daniel Cup.
Imagine
for the Jose Romero medal.
Hopefully Caleb has 45 disposals and we win by 20 goals.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly right. So, yeah, that's at Docklands at...
Let's just be on top of the ladder once next year. Christ. All right, let's wrap it up. It's been a great year. We'll hopefully check back in maybe once more before the end of the year. If we don't, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all of that jargon.
All of that. There's just not much Bulldog stuff to talk about. Maybe we should let's get one of your old teammates on to
just do a Christmas special and just maybe we'll get together and have a couple of beers and watch the footy or something.
Do you know what? Actually, a live thing I want to do next year. I've talked to the club about it, and they're like, we want to focus on the 100th centenary in the VFL, AFL thing. So they're not keen on it, but we might do this as a side thing. Next year, 15-year anniversary of us winning the NAB Cup.
Wow.
Let's do a reunion episode.
And don't even talk about what happened after we won the cup, because it was all...
it's all downhill after that.
Yeah, that's right. We peaked in February.
Mate, we won silverware.
It's unbelievable.
You know how many teams have won the NAB Cup since? Not many.
No, maybe one. And then it was Wizard. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
I gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had two loves, the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.